Aqua Earth Explorer.
Deep in the dry heart of South Africa's northern cape lies a hidden opening in the earth, Boesmansgat, also called Bushman's Hole. On the surface it looks ordinary, a dark pool tucked into limestone rock. But beneath that still water stretches one of the most extreme, dangerous, and fascinating underwater caves on the planet. And in its depths, divers have tested the absolute limits of human endurance, with triumphs, tragedies, and a legacy that continues to echo through the diving world today. This is the story of the tragedy of Boesmansgat Cave. In the 1970s and 80s, cave diving as a discipline was still in its infancy. South Africa's high plateau is dotted with sinkholes, but Boesmansgat quickly stood out. Local farmers had long known of it, describing the bottomless pool in hushed tones. Early exploration revealed a vertical drop straight down into darkness, unlike the sprawling passage systems of Florida or Mexico. Boesmansgat is not just deep, it's also cold, dark, and unforgiving. At more than 280 meters, or 918 feet, straight down, it's one of the deepest submerged freshwater caves known to man. That sheer vertical depth would one day draw some of the boldest divers on Earth. Through the 1980s and 90s, expeditions pushed deeper. Names like Nuno Gomes and Werner van Schaik became etched into record books for attempting world record descents. But each dive came at enormous risk. Descending that far meant carrying multiple breathing gases, handling bone-numbing cold, and enduring decompression stops that could last 12 hours or more. Even among elite divers, Boesmansgat was whispered about with respect and with fear. Among those drawn to the challenge was Dave Shaw, an Australian airline pilot with an unshakable appetite for pushing limits. By his 40s, Shaw was already known in technical diving circles for his calm under pressure and meticulous preparation. In October 2004, he set his sights on Boesmansgat. With a rebreather system designed to recycle his breathing gases and extend his bottom time, Shaw descended deeper than nearly anyone had gone before. At 270 meters, 886 feet, he broke the record for the deepest dive using a rebreather. But what he found at the bottom of that dive would set the stage for one of the most tragic episodes in cave diving history. There, illuminated in the beam of his helmet light, lay the body of Deon Dreyer, a 20-year-old diver who had vanished in Boesmansgat 10 years earlier during a training dive. Dreyer's parents had never been able to recover him. His body had come to rest on a silty ledge, 20 meters from the cave's deepest floor. For Shaw, it was a haunting discovery. He surfaced from that dive with a new mission. He would return to Boesmansgat not just to set records, but to bring Deon Dreyer home. January 8, 2005. The dive world held its breath. Shaw assembled a skilled support team, including legendary diver Don Shirley. The plan was daring but carefully mapped out. Shaw would descend again to nearly 270 meters, secure Dreyer's body, and begin the long stage descent. Safety divers were positioned at various depths, ready to assist. At dawn, Shaw dropped into the pool, disappearing into the blackness. His descent took nearly 15 minutes, his body compressed under more than 26 atmospheres of pressure. At the bottom, he located Dreyer just as before, lying motionless on the ledge. But when Shaw tried to lift the body into a body bag, things began to unravel. After 10 years underwater, Dreyer's remains had become fragile, tangled with gear, and embedded in silt. Shaw struggled, his lights flickered in the pitch black. The extra weight and unexpected entanglement began to overwhelm him. At those depths, a diver has no margin for error. The dense gases make every movement feel like slow motion. The rebreather becomes temperamental. Carbon dioxide builds, and the clock ticks mercilessly. Somewhere in that struggle, Shaw became trapped. His lines tangled, his breathing gases failed to keep up. He fought for minutes. But in the silent darkness of Boesmansgat, he never made it back. On the surface, his team waited in mounting anxiety. Hours passed. Support divers ascended, shaken, reporting trouble below. Eventually, when they realized Shaw was lost, the expedition turned into a grim vigil. But in a strange twist of fate, the cave would deliver both bodies together. Days later, during recovery efforts, search teams found not only Dave Shaw, but also Deon Dreyer. The young man who had been lost for a decade was finally brought home. His remains returned to his family. For Dreyer's parents, it was a bittersweet closure. For the diving community, it was a devastating blow. Dave Shaw had perished in the very act of trying to give another family peace. The tragedy of Boesmansgat reverberated far beyond South Africa. Cave divers everywhere studied the incident, dissecting each decision. Shaw's meticulous preparation had still not been enough against the overwhelming complexity of the dive. It became a cautionary tale about the razor-thin margins in extreme exploration. But Shaw's story also struck a chord of heroism. He wasn't chasing fame or records that day. He was chasing compassion. His determination to recover a lost diver became a symbol of loyalty, courage, and sacrifice. Today, Boesmansgat remains one of the most feared sites in the diving world. Few attempt its depths. Those who do must carry not only the burden of technical precision, but also the weight of history. The cave is no longer just a geological wonder. It is a memorial, etched with the names of those who never surfaced. And in diving culture, the name Dave Shaw carries both tragedy and honor. His final dive is taught in training courses, referenced in documentaries, and whispered about on the edges of dive boats. His story is a reminder that even the most skilled among us are human, and that the pull of empathy can drive us as powerfully as the pull of adventure. Boesmansgat will always be a place of shadows, a silent cathedral of stone and water where time seems to stand still. For explorers, it embodies both the awe and the peril of pushing beyond human limits. And for the families and divers who remember, it holds a lesson written in sacrifice, that the pursuit of closure, of bringing someone home, can be as dangerous as it is noble. The tragedy of Boesmansgat Cave is more than a story about diving. It's about how far we'll go for each other, even into the deepest darkness.
Thanks for diving in with me today. If you enjoyed this adventure, hit subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next one.